A story of Calcutta, Chapter 4. Listen and practice.
Left alone in his apartment, I sat in front of the TV, looking at its empty black face. I thought of the intelligence of wild things, birds, insects, how they could communicate without words, without sound. The sudden movement of a wing, the waving of a tail. Food, home, this way danger lies. I wanted to touch my brother's fingers and feed into his body all the feelings that were jumping around inside mine. The trip I took last month to Calcutta to see my mother was my first since I had left as a new bride 10 years before. As soon as I saw her at the airport, where she had come against the doctor's advice, I knew that she was dying. It was the look in her eyes, the way she stared past me for a moment when I came out of the arrivals area. She seemed not to recognize me, and I thought she was looking beyond me for someone else. I am on the boat, looking out blindly, counting on my frozen fingers the people I love. Sandeep, my daughters, my mother, my brother. It is a pitifully short list and does not cheer me up at all. My mother is dying. Perhaps she is already dead. How much of my husband's fondness for me is simply daily habit? In how many ways will my daughters and I disappoint each other as they grow up? And my brother? Is he as anxious for me to go as I am to leave? Don't cry, I order myself. Make yourself smile. You did your best. You're going home tomorrow. Look! Taran is pointing to something white on a nearby piece of floating ice. I hope my eyes haven't turned red and try to show some interest. Will this miserable boat trip never end? Look! It's some sort of large bird with thin red legs. As the boat gets closer, it spreads its white wings and looks calmly at us. I've seen a bird like this somewhere before. Didi, doesn't it look like a sharash? Yes, indeed it does. But I am more surprised by the Bengali name for the bird, so unexpected in my brother's mouth, and the childhood name for me, which he hasn't used for years. Didi, a small word of love, like a magic jewel from one of my mother's stories. I remember when we last saw Sharash. It is soon after my father's death. I am 8, my brother 3. My mother has sent us to stay at third uncle's house, out in the country. We are homesick and miserable and do not get on with our cousins, who know how to milk cows and swim across the river. We hurt ourselves trying to climb trees with them, and they laugh at us when we cry. But one day, after a morning filled with rain, the sun comes out and Taran and I run across the fields. We get muddy from head to toe, but we don't care. Perhaps we can reach the railway, jump on a passing train and make our way back to our mother in Calcutta. Then suddenly we see them, 15 or 20 sharash feeding in the flooded rice fields. My brother lifts his delighted hands. Look, Didi, as the birds fly up, a speeding cloud of silver light. For a moment, the sky is full of wings, whiteness and possibility. We stand with our arms around each other until they disappear. The ferry is closer now, and everyone is looking at the bird. Even the noisy young men are quiet. The bird's eyes shine. It looks back at us. At me. I am sure of this. It has flown all the way from Bengal, out of the old stories, to bring me a message that will save us. If only I can hear it. Some dreams are essential. We need them to live by. Before I returned to the United States, I begged my mother to come and live with me. She refused. I want to die in the house where your father died, where you were born, you and Darrow. What can I do for you, Mother? What will make you happy? Seeing my children before I die. But I am here, Mother. Seeing my children before I die. Seeing my children. All of us in dark caves, our fingers painful from scratching at the stone, searching for that tiny crack in the rock, the edge of a door opening into love. Suddenly I am glad about the girl with the red gold hair. The bird rises into the air, beating its strong wings, wheeling confidently over our heads. I'm certain my brother doesn't remember that long ago day in the countryside. Still, I step closer, touch his arm. At first I think he's going to move away. Then he puts his arm round my shoulders and holds me tight for a moment. Tonight, I will tell my brother a story. Once there was a widow woman who had 2 children. I'll tell it the way the old stories were told, without guilt or blame, out of sadness and hope to keep memory alive. Maybe he won't listen, and maybe he will. We stand side by side, shoulders touching. The wind blows through us, a wild, intelligent wind. The white bird flies directly into the sun.
That's the end of the story. Listen and practice.